Hey dudes and dudettes, Mr. Theorist here, and welcome back to another Ramble reaction review. This one is on Wonder Woman. I'm here again with this guy. And yeah, you know how these videos work. We've gone and watched the film, we haven't spoken about it between ourselves, and we are going to talk to you guys about our thoughts and how we felt about the overall movie. So let's go. Okay, I want to know what's your initial thoughts.
Okay, let's get your thoughts first. Go for it.
My thoughts. DC can make a good movie. I know that my personal opinion, I really like BVS, but I know the overall feeling is that it's not a great film.
It's a messy movie. Always has been a messy movie.
Okay.
I've always said that.
I will accept that because I probably just have a real big love for Batman, and that's what kind of glazes over my view of it.
Yeah,
but this movie,
that's what it is. He's a fanboy.
Yeah, I must be. I'm a fanboy of Batman, and he can't do anything wrong. This movie, DC can do it. They can make a good movie, and the DC universe can work if they carry on in this direction. Okay? Initial thoughts, come on.
Okay, right, yeah. Now, Wonder Woman is definitely a step in the right direction. It's a good, solid movie. It has a beginning, middle, and end. It is a good film. It's a solid film. It's a film that most people will enjoy. The fact that it's not a total absolute mess like Batman vs Superman and Man of Steel and Suicide Squad, it's very much a plus in its favour. But it's a very good, solid film. I found myself, I enjoyed as it went on. I got a little bit bored as the movie progressed because it felt like, I mean, through the film there are 3 action scenes in total. The rest of it's lots of characters. Now the character stuff was good, and then some of the comedy stuff was good. You had the female comedy character who was the sidekick character. Yeah. My fear was that they were going to overuse her, and it just like she'd become annoying. But no, she was used enough to get the comedy across. The fish out of water comedy, I was kind of dreading, but yeah, they didn't do that too much. It was there. It was a bit. Yeah,
they might have done that a little bit more than I think was kind of needed, because luckily Captain America 2, they didn't do that, did they?
But it's as a film. I mean, I know on Rotten Tomatoes it's getting over 90%. It doesn't deserve that.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't deserve that.
Because the thing is,
no. Here's the thing. It's being praised because it's a good action, solid film. It's being overly praised for being a good film. You cannot compare it. I mean, you think about stuff that is in the higher grades of Rotten Tomatoes. Your classic movies, your Citizen Kane, 2001.
Okay.
It doesn't compare to anything like that because it's a good movie. Now, the reason why it's getting high praise is because it is the first good movie out of a trail of messy movies.
Okay.
Here's one thing I did like about it. It told a solid story. It was not, unlike majority of superhero movies, it wasn't Easter egg the movie.
Yes.
Which is what I'm finding is that a lot of films are about, one thing that's bugging me about a lot of the Marvel movies is that what references can I cram in? You're spending half your time watching the background to find out what's in it and not watching the story. And because you're doing that, you're kind of like taken away from the stories aren't that good. I mean, the thing is, it just had I would say the film was just a very basic story in a way.
Yes.
It was kind of like a new version of like Captain America. Now, the one thing I really did like is the fact that Wonder Woman as a character was introduced in the 1930s, 1940s.
Yes.
And so she's a World War II character. The fact that they took her out of that area and put it in World War I think was a major bonus for the film. It totally changed the structure of the character and how the character was introduced. And because if you did it in World War II, it would be Captain America female version. That's what you would have got.
Yeah.
You even had the Howling Commando team in it, just like you did in Captain America.
See, one thing I think that DC has done wrong with Wonder Woman, because I was talking to a couple of our friends about this, this should have been first. Personally, this should have come before Batman vs Superman, because then I think people would be more understanding
The problem you have with the reason why they couldn't do it first, because a Batman movie has been done before. A Superman movie has been done before. Yeah. Wonder Woman has never been done before. It was an untested. They weren't going to do their first film as something like Wonder Woman. Okay, now Marvel.
Yeah, Marvel did Iron Man.
Yeah, exactly. They took the risk. They rolled the dice, and that could have been a big failure. But on this side, they were not going to put Wonder Woman as the first film. It had to be a Batman movie or a Superman movie.
The thing is, though, this is what I'm saying, is the reason I think that they should have done Wonder Woman first is because of this movie, it was lighter than anything else that we've seen so far in the DC universe.
You can see stuff.
Yeah, but the tone of the movie, it was a lighter toned movie.
Oh, yeah. It was, no, in a way, it was almost in a way darker, because it was about war, and it was showing the futility of war.
But it was still a lighter movie,
As in the comedy, the characters.
Yes, everything about
the characters weren't all dark and grim.
Yeah, because this movie could have set this up, and like Iron Man 1, like there was, like obviously Iron Man 1 was kind of, kind of dark, but it still had that tone that made it an inviting movie.
Robert Downey Jr. doing the comedy thing.
Yeah, but it was a movie that was inviting into the universe.
Okay.
And then we get BVS afterwards, which would then play on the idea of her beating... listen to this. Beats her idea... Like, she beats Ares in the film. Right? And... Spoilers. And then she believes that Ares basically... She says that Ares controls man, right?
Yeah.
She kills Ares at the end, but she realises she doesn't kill Ares. But to a degree, because he's a god, basically what he's done, he's then spread across everyone. And then this then gives the darker tone of why the world is as dark as it is, because Ares' influence has extended completely.
Yes.
Yeah, and then that is why Wonder Woman is still in the world instead of going back to her home, back to the island.
Well, yes.
Because she still notices that there is this darker influence on the world.
So, hang on. So let's go through the film itself. Now, the first... The Paradise Island stuff, love that stuff.
Love it, it looks amazing.
Yeah, the female warrior type characters interacting in the fight scenes. I was very, very, obviously Zack Snyder, very 300 in its action. And that kind of annoyed me a little bit, but at least this I could see, and it looked less green screen than Zack Snyder. I mean, obviously we have so many years since 300, so it isn't improved, and 300 was always supposed to be deliberately a comic book looking movie, but it definitely had that 300 like fast action, slow down action, fast action. But I liked it. It did look a bit green screen at times and a bit cartoony and a bit CGI, but for the majority of it, I thought the action was really good. That first fight scene on the beach. Then the kind of movie slowed down. You had character stuff, character integration of her going to the getting involved in the war. Some comedy moments, introducing the other characters. Then you had the really good action scene on the front. Then it slowed down again. And at that point, I was starting to get a little bit bored of it. That was just me, not a critic on the film. It's just that I didn't think there was enough action scenes in the movie. Cause it basically was just action scene, story, big action scene, story. Big finish. Only 3 action scenes, real big action scenes all the way through the movie. And for me, it slowed down for me. But but for the average audience goer, I think they will enjoy it. It maybe just a little bit too long. Yeah. Considering that really it was a much more of a simpler story. I mean, the story itself I thought was excellent.
Yeah.
But it was not over convoluted because it was focusing on one character. You had one character story. And that's what the thing is. The problem is with all the other films, it's always been this character story, this character story, this character story.
Yeah, which is why
and make a jumble mess. As where this was, this is the character, this is her story all the way through the film.
And that's why she should have been the first movie in the thing. And I know the whole thing is they didn't want to make the risk, but they should have done.
Yeah, but
and this is why DC.
Yeah, but it was going to be a Batman story. It was going to be a Superman story. And the problem is if they'd done the basic story of either one of those two. People have gone, oh, we've seen this before, but they had to build on their already established characters.
Yeah.
But yeah, they should have done the Iron Man.
They should have. Yeah.
But they wouldn't have done it with Wonder Woman. That's the thing. Wonder Woman wouldn't have been their first choice. They probably would have gone for, I don't know, maybe something like Green Lantern.
No. So
Gal Gadot, what's her name?
Who? Oh, Wonder Woman. Actress. I don't know actresses' names. I watch things for the characters, the actors.
Yeah, well, she was good. She was good.
Yes.
Her mum was good. Steve Trevor's was just Chris. What's his name? Chris Pratt? No,
it's not Chris Pratt. It's
Chris Pine.
One of the Chris's. It's Kirk. Kirk.
There's far too many. He was basically playing the same character he usually does, but again, his character had
there was some more feels.
Yeah, there's definitely more to it.
What I thought was funny, obviously they did do the odd little Easter eggs in it. What I thought was quite fun is all the way through they were pushing this idea that Wonder Woman, she has her old origin. She was made out of clay, and they did all the thing of
the original
being given. And then they just go, no, that's not her origin.
Well, it is.
It's not. They say at the end. Ares says at the end, it's not.
that she
is a god.
Well,
that's why they have that bit where all the stuff's flying at her and it's just deflecting off her because it's claiming that she's now a god.
The power. Well, because she has the power of Zeus in her. That's the thing. Yeah, the whole clay thing is still part of her origin, but it's the power of Zeus. Because originally one version she's made by clay and she's forged from the gods. Another version she is just an Amazon. Because you've got to remember that at one point you had two versions of Wonder Woman running around, which was the Golden Age. Because you had your Golden Age and your Silver Age, and what they've done is they've kind of like fused elements of the two into one. So yeah, it's kind of like taking on both, and I did like the idea that her power levels just seemed odd because at first she's sparring off against Amazons, and then she's like crawling up a building and managing to actually put her hands into a wall to crawl up. And then she was deflecting bullets with her wrist, but then it almost looked like she was deflecting bullets with her. I mean, this got a cut, and then she was bulletproof.
Well, that's the kind of said in the film. It seemed like the more she pushed herself, the more her powers developed, and that's how Ares would have been able to find
possibly.
her.
As the film progresses, she's getting closer.
Developed and closer.
The idea is that she has a destiny to eventually meet Ares. The closer she gets to Ares, the more powerful she becomes. Yeah. And I felt, well, that makes her too uber powerful. But once. No, but I think the thing is that she basically powers up, Dragon Ball style, to beat the villain. But once she's beaten the villain, she powers down.
Yeah, she loses.
So she gains this kind of lower level of superhero than the god level she is. Because basically at the moment she could just go super and go.
Yeah. I was looking at that Final Fight against Ares and going, why did they have trouble against Doomsday when she can do stuff like that?
Because it was Ares.
But yeah, I'm guessing it's more.
Because it was Ares.
She can Super Saiyan up and she has to come down again.
Okay, right. No, so it was a good, solid. Yeah. I would almost say basic movie. Issues I had, the villain perhaps. The villain.
You mean the German?
Yeah.
The German.
The German and
they were basically they did. If you look at it, they almost did an Iron Man 1 thing. Where they were like, oh look, these evil group of people are the villains, and then last minute it's like, actually no, it's this good guy who's actually the villain.
Here's the problem with the villain in this. Is that this is a character that had his own plan. Usually in any comic movie, you have the hero and the villain, and there is connection. Mm-hmm. With these two, there was no connection. So when it came to a showdown, you didn't feel much of a showdown because there was no connection. All she was doing was trying to take on Ares, and when you would go, anybody who was watching it knew from just the feel of it that this character was not Ares at all.
Yeah, but that goes into something that me and the other guys were talking about, is that I personally felt that what they were going to do, they were almost going to do a thing of, she's determined Ares is involved in World War One. That's the whole purpose of why World War One happens. But then she finds out at the end, no, it's not. And it's her about learning the evils of man isn't just because gods are involved. It's just... She ends up helping humanity because
the god's influence is more general than direct.
Or the gods weren't involved at all. They
are, but it's kind of like it's a general kind of like how they influence humanity, not direct control. She's under the impression that once you kill Ares, all people will then be good. Yeah. No, it's on about that the effect that Ares has is on the whole human race as a species.
But I was thinking that maybe Ares wasn't going to be involved at all. That she was determinedly going to think, and she was willing to go and kill someone over it.
My problem is with the villain is that there is no connection from one. I mean, you look at Captain America. Captain America and Red Skull had a level of connection of being opposites. As with Wonder Woman and this guy, apart from the fact he was sniffing some kind of super serum, that's the only kind of touch thinking that, there may be a fight between them. But there was no character connection between the two. He was just a villainous villain.
Who basically wanted to destroy he wanted the world to be completely eradicated, and she wanted to save the world. He wanted a great war that would eventually eradicate, that would carry on forever. That's what he said. And yet she wanted to see good in humanity. He saw the worst, she saw the good. They were polar opposites that would clash.
But there's no conflict of them, of this is the person she wanted to be. There was no connection.
She thought she did.
Well, no. Yes, no, that he was Ares, but you didn't feel it.
Oh, no, yeah.
When you have a hero taking on a villain, you feel it needs to be earned, the conflict. When any hero that takes on a villain, they know each other. You have to build up to that there is an actual conflict there. You felt no reason. Well, there's no build up between the two.
But
characters.
the thing is, we're using Captain America as an example. The Captain America only really went specifically after Red Skull once Red Skull got Bucky. If you think about it, like he was using purely for propaganda and war and stuff. It wasn't until he heard Bucky was in trouble that he was like, okay, now I need to go over there. It's the same as Wonder Woman. She only got involved because she thought that Ares was this villain, and that's the reason she got involved with it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You couldn't, because if he was Ares, you would have known he was Ares as the film developed. That's the thing. But I suppose that's the kind of thing. It was Ares. That the idea was that she was totally wrong about Ares, and it was just war. So you might have to not have to have that connection between the characters. Yes. It needs to be a bit vague, because if it says Ares, it kind of changed the structure of following a story. Maybe there is that, but yeah, it just felt it was a weak villain because there was no real. When it came to the conflict, you didn't feel the conflict at all between her and like you would with Captain America versus Red Skull, Iron Man versus Ironmonger. You know, they had history with the two characters and a build up to their clash, which is the same in most villains and heroes. I suppose the only example I could think is Guardians of the Galaxy. Perhaps they didn't really have much of a connection between heroes and villains.
Yeah,
maybe. Well, anyway,
they were just turned up, found out he was...
And the story itself was fairly basic in a way, but that was to advantage. It told a good, solid story.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was a bit... it's good, and the action scenes were good, so yeah, it's a good, solid movie, but it doesn't deserve the high praise I
get what you mean from Rotten Tomato. I think that may be a little too high. If you're saying that the reason they give that high rating is because
90...
of movies... Yeah, if it's in the same category
95 or 94, which is just plain ridiculous.
I know. I think it's a good standard comic book movie.
It's a popcorn movie. It's a watch, enjoy, and then move on to the next one. I mean, that is pretty much the standardised. Is that most Hollywood movies nowadays, they are either good or something's really bad about them. And it seems like the majority of them are bad. Then everyone says it's good. It's like, oh my god, this one's okay. And that is the real problem of Hollywood at the moment, is that they don't do really good films. It's only on the more fringe, the independent movies, is where you get your really good cinema. Majority of your popcorn movies are that they even call it a popcorn movie. It's almost like referring it to be as, don't expect it to be a really good movie.
Yeah. I get it. I do get it.
But it was a good, solid film. Majority of people will go see it. And the one thing I will find that this will be an important film for, I think, young kids, particularly young girls.
Yes.
Because I think this is very much an empowering young. Most people our age, my age and your age, will just watch it. It's the next one in the line of movies.
And I think that's...
for younger kids, particularly younger girls, this will be a memory movie, something that will structure their lives.
Is that why do you think possibly that's why it's getting a higher rating now? Because maybe of our generation, like your generation, and kind of the end of like my generation, is that we very much are judgmental of movies and stuff, and movies have to do really spectacular things to make them good. Where itself, it's more of an audience in general thing.
The fact it's a DC movie that's a good DC movie, and people are just going ape over the fact that it's a good movie, that they've done a good movie. That's the reason why it's getting such high rating. I reckon the rating will come down over the next week once the hype has died down a bit and people have gone, yeah, it wasn't that good. It's still a good movie, but it wasn't that great. And that's pretty much my opinion. It's nothing mind-blowingly amazing. It is not broken cinema, but it's a good film.
But everyone says that Iron Man 1, like a lot of people say Iron Man 1 is a really good movie. And I would say this is as good as Iron Man 1. I would say this is as good. Yet people still say that Iron Man 1 is really, really good.
No, Iron Man 1, I would say... Ooh, I can see the parallels, but no, I'll still say Iron Man 1 is a better movie. It was a better movie. Because that... Iron Man 1 takes you on a journey, you're following a character, and I think that is constantly rolling. With Wonder Woman, it's rolling, but it kind of like, as I say, action slows down, action slows down, action.
But do you want in a movie to be all slow and then action, or do you want it to be in segments so you can keep going?
I want the slower parts to keep a role to them.
I think it
As
did.
in, it keeps. Well, I say that's just my own personal
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah, okay, yeah. This is what it is.
Maybe I've just developed a short attention span to movies at the moment. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it's turned into. It's usually just me going, "Oh my god, do you see us?" And
I'm
you're just like,
yeah, yeah. In other words, I'm watching it thinking, right, don't like that. Don't like that. Yeah, don't like that bit. And you're just like, oh
to
my
end
God,
this video
then,
then, how many Easter eggs did you count?
Oh, I don't. Oh.
Let's have it. Let's see if there are.
Oh gosh.
I caught 2.
You caught 2.
I caught 2. Because I count her origins kind of because I feel that they did kind of retcon last minute with Ares by saying that she was a god.
Well, you can't say the Wayne element was an Easter egg.
No, because that's keeping the universe coherent.
I didn't really spot any particularly. I mean, there's the Clark Kent.
The Clark Kent
which is funny. Reference. That's more of a gag than an Easter egg. It's not referring to something within the universe of an obscure character.
Okay.
I mean, there may be some. Wonder Woman's not a character I know particularly well.
Okay.
I mean, I know a lot of my DC characters. Wonder Woman is never one I've given any particular focus to. So there may have been a couple of references to other characters like Artemis. I thought was maybe a reference in there, or some other characters, but I didn't really.
Oh, was one of the Amazons called Artemis or something?
Yeah, if I remember rightly, the one who took over from Wonder Woman in the early 90s. Anyway, I digress.
Ratings. We'll finish this on ratings. Out of 5. We were doing out of 5. We are trying to do this with the DCs.
3.2.
Okay, I will almost match. I will go above that.
I thought you would.
I would go...
For some reason.
3.
Really? I thought you'd be 4.
3.7.
I thought it was more 4.
To me, Civil War is a 5 for a comic book movie strength.
Yes.
And
what's a 4?
Winter Soldier.
So this is less than Winter Soldier?
Yes.
Okay, I'll agree with it. I still
3.7. I think it's almost, because I think it's definitely a step in the right direction, and I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I would say because I'm not really a Wonder Woman fan, I almost enjoyed it as much as BVS, but BVS personally gets me because of, well, it's Batman beating up Superman, which... It's because I'm a fanboy. But yeah, 3.7, I would say.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit that like button. Leave your comment. If you've seen Wonder Woman, let me know what you think about it. As always, guys, if you would, please subscribe. Until the next Rumble reaction, we will see this guy. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!
Bye!